Good afternoon and welcome to Nutmeg Sports here on the HAN Network. Filling in for Frank Granito. We have a great show for you today. We're going to be going through the games from this past weekend as well as preview tonight's boys soccer game that will be live here on the HAN Network. At this time, I'd like to welcome in Donald Eng. Don, how are you? How was your weekend?
Aside from my fantasy football team, Tsunami of Awesome, on its way to having a crushing defeat in the office pool. Other than that, I got some chores done, cooked some ribs, and now ready to talk some local sports.
I gotta ask, where'd that name come from? How'd you come up with that name?
Oh, I think I saw a logo somewhere that just said "It's time to awesome," and then I picked out the logo for the team before I actually had a team name. That was the.
Fair enough. Well, best of luck the rest of the year in your fantasy football. But right now, we're going to go over the athlete of the week. Of course, we're going to announce the nominees for this week. We're also going to talk about the ones from the previous week. Of course, last week, Jessica Mazzo from St. Joe's Girls Soccer. She had 386 votes. And on the boys' side, we had David Summers from Fairfield Ward Football with 868 votes. Now, here are the nominees sponsored by Runner's Roost of Darien. First off, it's Zakir Ahmad from Staples Cross Country. Ahmad was crowned the FCAC champion with a time of 15:49 over 5,000 meters during last Wednesday's conference championship met in New Canaan's Waveney Park. Ahmad won the race by more than 22 seconds, grabbing an early lead and remaining in the front end. His first place finish helped the Wreckers claim the FCAC championship with 27 points. Next up is Shane Palmer from Richfield Football. Shane did a lot of everything for the Tigers in their big 42-7 victory over Staples. Palmer rushed for 187 yards and 2 touchdowns, caught 5 passes for 57 yards and a score, and returned a punt for 69 yards for another touchdown. Coming up next is Matt DeLisa from Wilton Football. Matt DeLisa intercepted 3 passes as the Warriors forced 7 turnovers in an 18-0 win over Stanford High. DeLisa took the score to 14-0 with a 1-yard run in the second quarter as Wilton improved to 4-2. Finally, Drew Pine from New Canaan Football. The freshman fired 4 touchdown passes as New Canaan defeated Greenwich by a final score of 40-16 Friday night at Dunning Field. Pine threw for 184 yards and hooked up with 4 different receivers for the TDs, 3 of which came during the second half. The Rams are now 6-0 on the season. Don, I'll let you read from the girls' side.
Yeah, our first nominee is Megan McCormick, Wilton Cross Country. McCormick is a junior. She claimed the FCAC Girls Cross Country Championship with a time of 14 minutes, 36.87 seconds on the 4,000-meter course at New Canaan's Waveney Park. She won the race by more than 16 seconds and helped the Warriors finish 3rd in the team standings. They finished 3rd behind the Ridgefield Girls Cross Country team. Who is your next nominee? The Ridgefield Girls Cross Country team repeated as FCAC Cross Country champions with an overwhelming performance, placing 6 runners in the top 14. The Tigers went undefeated at 15-0 during the regular season. They had a team score of 50 points to beat Greenwich by 29. Ridgefield's top finisher was senior Ava Kelly, who was 7th in 15:24, followed closely by freshman Tess Pisanelli, who was 8th. Sophomore Gabrielle Vigiano also cracked the top 10, finishing 10th with a time of 15 minutes, 33 seconds. Carly Rutledge of Darien Swimming and Diving, your next nominee, had a hand in 4 victories as Darien knocked off Greenwich in a battle of unbeaten teams. The score was 99.5 to 86.5 last Thursday at the Greenwich High School pool. Rutledge won the 200 individual medley and the 500-meter freestyle. She was also part of the Waves 200 freestyle and 400 freestyle relays. Darien is now 7-0. Anastasia Perry of Staples Volleyball is your next nominee. Perry had 67 assists from her setter position to lead the Wreckers to a 3-2 win over New Canaan. Staples improved to 10-7 overall, 8-7 in the FCAC with a 25-23, 23-25, 25-19, 17-25, 15-8 win over the Rams. And finally, Lindsay Savko of St. Joseph Soccer is your final nominee. She had 2 goals as the Cadets bounced back from their first loss of the season with a 4-0 win over New Canaan. Savko later scored 2 goals and had an assist in a 4-1 win over Fairfield Ward. So those are your nominees on the girls' side.
Well, best of luck to all the nominees. We actually have courtesy. They just hot off the press.
Really? We just got these handed to us like literally 5 minutes before the camera started rolling.
Well, if you take a peek here, here's what the winners will get. It's a very nice little pull over here. It says HAN Network Athlete of the Week.
So you don't have to worry about seeing someone else in the hall with an identical pullover. That's a nice touch.
It's a good look for you, Don.
It is nice. It feels it's breathable. Perfect for the little chilly fall season.
Well, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to go over the football scores from this past weekend. We'll be right back here on the HAN Network.
1, 2, 3, heavy! You know! I want to find out how good I am. Yes, sir! If you relax, you get blown out. Let's get it done! Let's get it done!
What can you take advantage of right now?
Again, come on! I can push myself way beyond what you think.
Pressure technique. Bring it back.
Want a new experience in car buying? No aggravation, no confrontation, just answers to all your questions. Scap Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram, car buying the way you want it to be. With one of the largest selections of new 2- and 4-door Jeep Wranglers available, we are Connecticut's Wrangler headquarters. Located in Fairfield, Connecticut, we're easy to get to. Just 2.5 miles off the Merritt Parkway, exit 44 via Route 58 South. Save thousands right now during the Jeep Celebration event and Ram Power Days. Ends October 31st.
Connecticut is coming back to hometown banking, to a partner that makes small businesses feel big, where community comes first, where high-tech tools go hand in hand with a human touch, where you get the know-how only neighbors can deliver, where saving time is important too. It's time to expect more. It's time to bank well, bank smart, bank local, bank well.
Have a sports injury or a slip and fall that needs immediate care? Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care gives you direct access to an orthopedic specialist fast, without an appointment. Biking, golf, tennis, soccer, whatever the sports injury is, sprain or fracture, Coastal Ortho Express can help. Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care, open Monday through Saturday, now in 2 locations. The iPark building at 761 Main Avenue in Norwalk and 36 Old Kings Highway South in Darien. Or go to coastalorthoexpress.com, like them on Facebook.
When it comes to local entertainment, we've got it all.
From movies, local artists, etiquette, and more.
Watch HAN Arts and Leisure with me, Steve Coulter, and our Arts and Leisure editor, Sally Sanders, Mondays at 12:30, right here on the HAN Network.
Give your day a jumpstart with the latest news, sports, weather, and more on Coffee Break, live on the HAN Network, weekdays at 11 a.m. Connecticut news doesn't get any more local than on Coffee Break.
Welcome back to Nutmeg Sports here on the HAN Network. This past Friday night, we had the Marinelli Bowl. New Canaan hosted the Greenwich Cardinals in a great matchup. The New Canaan defense was again outstanding, holding a Greenwich team which had averaged more than 44 points per game the past 4 weeks, to just 2 touchdowns and 16 points. Brothers Ryan and Quinton O'Connell accounted for 4 touchdowns, with each scoring once through the air and once on the ground. Let's take a peek at the highlights.
High snap goes over his head. He's got a little bit of time, picks it up, and gets it off. Good job by the junior. And a late flag comes in. It looks like a roughing the kicker penalty.
That's not Lou Marinelli's style, though, to play for the field goal.
Empty set. Pine looking over the middle. He's going for O'Connell, diving, making the catch. Touchdown, Rams. Ace formation for Pine. He's got O'Connell to his left. Looking left. Now flush from the pocket again. Pine working around, throwing one down over the middle, going up, making the catch. It's the other O'Connell. Touchdown, Rams. It's Ryan, the senior running back.
Just used his body there, 6'2", to box out the defender and hauled it in.
It's 28, which with plenty of distance, though. It's Langen looking over the middle again, going to throw up the jump ball. He wants Jeremiah Harris going up, making the catch. Touchdown, Cardinals.
It looked to me like Harris, he faked out the defender he slowed down, it appeared, and then sped up and ran underneath it.
1st and 15 following the penalty from the 20-yard line. Pine looking to the left, still looking left. Now goes over the middle. He wants Quinton O'Connell, his favorite target. Touchdown, Rams. What a drive to start the second half. Pine with an empty formation again. Looks to the left. Wants to stare down that way. He's got a man open in the corner of the end zone. A pelt goes up. Touchdown, Rams. Ball up. Tommy Root waiting under it. Makes the pick. And he can run this one out. And that will do it.
And a big win for the Rams. Of course, Don, we saw early in that highlight the big penalty that led to the Rams scoring.
Yeah, they got their money's worth on that. They got their money's worth on that roughing the kicker. Sometimes you see them barely touch the kicker, and he goes down in the heap. They that was a pretty easy call there to keep a drive alive. New Canaan then went on to score on that drive, arguably the turning point of that game.
Now, I got to ask, I mean, the freshman quarterback, Drew Pine, was just absolutely brilliant. He threw for 184 yards, 4 touchdowns. I mean, he was impressive as a freshman.
Yeah, I mean, can someone show Ryan Fitzpatrick video of him throwing the ball? That would be that would be helpful, I think, a little bit. I mean, you have to assume he's only going to get stronger as he matures a little bit. 184 yards passing, 4 touchdowns, and just the accuracy, the presence in the pocket. There's really nothing not to like about him. And New Canaan, for the next few years at quarterback.
You're absolutely right, and I was so impressed with his poise in the pocket. But I had a great pleasure of chatting with him after the game, post-game interview, and he was so mature for a freshman. He said all the right things. I was very impressed by the young man. And, of course, Greenwich, a team that knows how to score a lot of points, was held to 16 points by a great defense.
Yeah, and that that brings up a point. But how much now is everyone looking forward to the Turkey Bowl this year? Because this Greenwich team took Darien right to the brink, and based on that performance, I actually expected Greenwich to possibly win this game or to keep it within a touchdown. New Canaan with a 40-16 win, 8 of those points coming late in the fourth quarter when New Canaan was winning 40-8. So I think I've been saying all along that I thought Darien was clearly the best team in the FCAC. It's really time now to take a look at New Canaan because that was an impressive performance.
That's right, and I think a lot of people around here are very excited for Thanksgiving Day if everything plays out well. Next week for Greenwich, they face Ludlow, who is 0-6. Then New Canaan takes on 3-3 Norwalk. What are your thoughts on those games?
I think both of those games are pretty much, I don't really expect any surprises there. Norwalk has had a nice year. I mean, they've been, they're right around 500. That's a good season as they continue to build for the future. But I think this New Canaan team is on a roll now. I would be shocked if they lost a game before Darien.
Now, a game actually that's coming up in a few weeks is Richfield and Greenwich. That game will be at Tiger Hollow. I mean, that's got to be a big game too, right?
It really is because Ridgefield, we said they were going to have a hard time making the state playoffs. Last year, we said they kind of kicked it into gear just a week too late, and they finished the season playing as well as anyone in the FCAC. Looking at Ridgefield's schedule, as you mentioned, they still have Greenwich, but with Ridgefield now at 2 losses, I think they probably win out and find themselves in that Class AA playoffs where there will be probably a dark horse candidate, but definitely a very live underdog.
Yeah, you can see the remaining schedule for the Greenwich Cardinals and the New Canaan Rams. For the Rams, they have Norwalk, then they travel to Trumbull, they go to Ludlow, and they finish up, of course, against Darien. And we cannot wait for this game on Thanksgiving Day. We're just so excited.
No, I mean it's sort of the showdown that everyone was expecting. It's kind of been the game of the year in the FCAC for it seems like forever. It's really only been a few years, but it looks like again that is going to be the game. The entire season in the FCAC comes down to that game. Now a little bit of the drama is gone from this game because a few years ago when they were both in Class L, this game was crucial. It's looking now like both of those teams will be comfortably into the state playoffs when they play the game. But of course, when these two teams play, they always want to win regardless.
Well, regardless, we'll find out what happens. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to go over and wrap up all the football scores from this past weekend here on Nutmeg Sports.
This is now 44 years I've been in this business. Digital came along. After I was in business for about 6 years, I had to totally reinvent the business. So I had to make a tremendous investment in my business. And Milford Bank was there for me. I don't really just consider Milford Bank a bank. I consider them a trusted partner in my business. My name is Jim Wilson, owner of Milford Photo. I choose to bank with Milford Bank.
Walter Stewart's Market in New Canaan is your time-saving local shopping destination for the best of spring. Find many of your favorite products, from great specials on everyday items to the freshest organic produce, artisanal cheeses, and grass-fed steaks. Drop off your knives to be sharpened, grab a beautiful bouquet of spring flowers, and stop in next door for a wine tasting. Plus, their personable staff is always ready to lend a helping hand. So stop in to Walter Stewart's Market, 229 Elm Street today, or shop online at stewartsmarket.com.
Hi, this is Leo Carl from Carl Chevrolet in New Canaan, and you've heard me talk about the Chevy Volt for years. The new model gets 53 miles on EV charge daily, plus 420-mile full range. But don't take my word for it. You need to come in and test drive the Volt yourself. Visit us at 261 Elm Street in New Canaan or online at carldirect.com.
At InSports Trumbull, the game is always on inside. Recently renovated and home to one of Connecticut's largest indoor turf fields, InSports is a multi-sport recreation center providing state-of-the-art facilities for league play, camps, and youth programs. InSports College Baseball Coaches Camp takes place at InSports on October 23rd from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. This unique, limited-space event features many of the area's top college baseball coaches who will work with high school players in a hands-on clinic setting, as well as evaluate their infield skills. For more information, contact Mike Buswell at InSports, 203-268-1214. Like and follow us on Facebook.
I'm John Kovach. I'm a newspaper editor. I'm a high school football coach. I'm a television presenter. And I want you to love fishing as much as I do. Tune into Yankee Fisherman, Thursdays at 1 on the HAN Network. It's like going to the tackle shop without leaving your office.
If you're watching this broadcast, you're not alone. The HAN Network is available for 200,000 Connecticut cable customers on the Frontier Network, and we've also reached 1.7 million viewers on our free live streaming sports, news, and entertainment broadcasts. To reach our rapidly growing audience, contact Advertising Director Jessica Murrin at 203-273-7312 or email jessica@han.network.
Welcome back to Nutmeg Sports here on the HAN Network. We had an exciting weekend here for football in the FCAC, and Donald Eng is going to read through all the scores from this past weekend.
Yes, we start in Ridgefield, where the Tigers beat Staples 42-7 on Friday night. Also on Friday, Trumbull 35, Central 6, Trinity 41-13 over Fairfield Ludlow, Darien 41, Danbury 6, and St. Joseph 41, Ward 14. On Saturday, it was Wilton beating Stamford 18-0, West Hill 12, Norwalk 11. In obviously a very competitive game there. That is going to do it for your FCAC weekend roundup.
And I think the big game that everyone's talking about, the big surprise was Ridgefield beating Staples 42-7.
Yeah, I mean, a couple of weeks ago when NFA really dominated Staples at the line of scrimmage and rolling to a big win, we kind of thought maybe it was a fluke. Staples dealing with some injuries, and now Ridgefield. I don't think anyone saw that coming. I mean, as impressive as New Canaan was beating Greenwich, I thought Ridgefield had the most impressive performance of the weekend, dominating Staples High School. As I mentioned in the previous segment, by my eye, looking at the remainder of Ridgefield's schedule, I think it's very possible that Ridgefield wins out and finds himself in the Class AA playoffs.
And of course, they have that big game against Greenwich coming up in a few weeks.
Yeah, as we said, as impressive as Ridgefield was against Staples, Greenwich was on kind of the receiving end of an impressive performance by New Canaan. And then, of course, we have Greenwich and Staples playing each other on Thanksgiving. So a bit of a round robin here among some of these teams.
And it's going to be an exciting finish in terms of football for the FCAC. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Really is. Thanksgiving Day, FCAC football, one of the great traditions in Connecticut sports.
With the boys soccer regular season coming to an end today, let's take a quick look, Don, at the final standings and the playoff picture, as well as we'll take a look at the full slate of games tonight. Here it is, the playoff picture, guys. Boys soccer, Don, what do you think?
Well, looking at it, I mean, you have to say, that Greenwich clearly establishing itself as the team to beat, 13-0-2 there. And look at Trumbull, still undefeated, but those four ties kind of have them about a step below the Cardinals. And then, of course, the three-way tie for 6th place there. Ludlow, Stamford, Staples, all with 27 points as we head into with one game to go. So it's very tight in the middle and at the bottom of that playoff bracket there. We'll see how this shakes out a little bit later on today.
Yeah, you got those teams from Darien all the way down to Staples, all with either 29 or 27 points that we're definitely going to have to keep an eye out today. We'll keep you posted, of course, today. Big matchup between Stanford and Trumbull. We will have that at 4 o'clock here on the HAN Network. I will be on the call with Mike Suppy and Don. This is a Stanford team that needs to win this game.
Yeah, I mean, it's every team in the FCIAC right now is really just kind of fighting for playoff positioning. Stanford right now in that three-way tie for sixth place. If they lose, they could find themselves on the outside looking in right now, and if they win, they could find themselves climbing as high as a 4 seed. So it's really very much a state of flux here, much more than you would expect with one game to go.
It's going to be a really fun day. I know we'll keep you guys all updated with all the scores in boys soccer, but quickly talking about the schedule today, Greenwich will go to McMahon. That game's at 4 o'clock. Bridgeport Central will go to Darien. Fairfield Ward will face Staples in a big game, two teams that need to get into the playoffs. That's a big game. Norwalk will be at St. Joe's. That game will be at 4:30. Wilton at New Canaan. That game as well will be at 4:30. Danbury and Fairfield Lotho at 6 o'clock, and that's a Lotho team that needs to beat a very good Danbury team. And finally, wrapping things up is Trinity Catholic at Richfield for senior night at Tiger Hollow. And obviously at 4 o'clock, we will have Trumbull at Stanford, a big game. And Don, just looking at one game in itself, Danbury at Fairfield Lotho, that's a big game for Lotho at least.
Oh, it really is. I mean, a lot of these teams are going to be watching Twitter and seeing how everyone else is doing as the game goes on. Ludlow, as you mentioned, also in that three-way tie for 6th, 7th, and 8th place. And as we said, they could find themselves out. They could find themselves, climbing 4 spots in the standings, all depending on how they do and how everyone else does around them.
And of course, Ludlow coming off a crushing loss to their rival, Fairfield Ward. We had that game last week. Such a crushing loss for them. A team that was projected to go to the playoffs so much earlier now seems to be falling, and they could be looking from the outside in after today's end.
No question about it. I mean, you don't want to. The seedings are still so much in flux. The difference between being a 6 seed or a 5 seed, the difference that could be the difference between playing a 9-4 Darien in the first round or 13-0 Greenwich. I mean, you obviously if you want to win the FCIAC, you're going to have to beat any of these teams anyway. But the conventional wisdom is you don't want to have to play your toughest game until a little bit later on in the tournament. So a lot of movement still possible in that 8-team bracket.
Well, it's going to be a fun finish for all teams in fall FCIAC, especially boys soccer and for football. That's going to do it here on Nutmeg Sports. Be sure to tune in at 4 o'clock for boys soccer. Trumbull heads to Stanford in a big game with playoff implications on the line. For Donald Eng, I'm Kevin Coleman. We'll see you tomorrow.